Good day, folks. This is Greg Judy at Green Pastures Farm. I get asked, why do you got a brush hog? Well, this is a farm that we've had leased for 7 years, and you just get busy, and this one hasn't been brush hogged for 2 years. I'm going to show you all something. This is autumn olive, and yeah, look at that. I mean, it just absolutely, when I say it'll take your farm, it will take your farm. I've got the bat wing and my trusty tractor. I mean, it's working this. It's working it. I tell you how tall and thick it is. I'm backing over it because I don't want to tear the hoses and the fuel line off my tractor. That's how thick it is. Now, once I back over it, then I go back over it forward, I chop it up into smaller pieces. Look at this, what I'm getting ready to back into right now. This is a forest. Folks, this is 2 years. 2 years of autumn olive growth. And we've had the cattle in here. We haven't had the sheep. We don't have sheep fence. And got neighbors on both sides. They don't appreciate goats on their farm. We couldn't keep the goats in. So this is my green goat. And it's chopping it up. I'm just making a windrow all the way up through here. It's slow going, but I'm getting it. And there's grass under here. Look at that. If you go forward, you're not going to have a fuel line left on your tractor. It'll just rip it off. Okay, now let's see what I've got in front of me. You see my windrow. And I'm just going to go back over it. I can speed up a little bit. I've shifted up a gear. There's good grass in here. It's just the dang autumn olives. This is the farm. It's 240 acres. And where I'm at right here, this was all cedar trees. It was all cedars. I took the cedars out, and when I did, the autumn olives, think compliments of the birds, eating the berries. They did a great job of planting it. I mean, look at this. But you know what? That tractor, the brush hog's doing a good job. I've got it's a 12.5 foot bat wing, which is just about perfect. I don't have enough tractor horsepower to do a 20-foot bat wing, or even a 15-foot. I mean, it's all you want with this. You just got to be careful. I need to shift down. I'm just going to shift down into a little bit slower gear. This thing lined up. So when I do hit that brush up there, I'm going to get this row right here. There it goes. It's a little bit hard to film and brush hog at the same time. I know. There he goes. Got it. Okay. Now, chop it up. Go back over it. I mean, this stuff is lousy. There it is, chopping it up. See, we just had the cattle in here. I had about 300 head in here. And they ate the grass pretty good, but they're not gonna do much with the autumn olive. They'll eat the tips off of it. But, you gotta be careful. You don't want to get in there too thick. I can go on the edge here, my bat wing will fold over there and get that brush right there. And it's not gonna damage my carriage on it. Anything underneath. Yeah, I'd like to meet the guy that brought this stuff in. Autumn olive, another invasive from China. Yep. You know, they used to give it, they didn't give it, they sold it. They used to sell these bushes. The Missouri Department of Conservation sold them as wildlife bundles. Why do I know that? Because I bought some. I used to plant these stinking things. This is back in the late 70s, early 80s. They were selling, you can buy 25 of them for $4. And once they saw what happened on their, you know, the conservation land, I mean, these things took over their land too. And as soon as they found out what they'd done, they go, oops, whoops, 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 whoops. You couldn't buy them anymore. It was too late. It's too late. Darn things. We're going to have these for the rest of our eternity. You're not going to get rid of autumn olive. You're not. You're just not going to get rid of them. You can control them by brush hogging. In the wintertime, we cut and paint them. We just ran out of winter time. You know, we did the best we could. We didn't get to this farm, and I kept putting it off because this is the worst one. And I'm like, you know, I'm just going to go out there and brush hog them, which is what I'm doing right now. And what comes back, we'll just keep going after it. That's the only way you can get them. You just got to stay on them. Just stay on them, and in about 7 to 10 years, you'll have less of them. That's all I'm going to say. I'm serious. It takes that long to get rid of these darn things. They've got a taproot. It's crazy. I've pushed them out with skid steer. And when you push them out with the skid steer, you pull out the root and such. You don't get them. All you do is you tear the trunk off. You got all these little octopus fingers down in the ground. And they come back with a vengeance. They do. They really do. So I just ran out of time. I figured, you know, if I don't brush hog them this summer, we've got a lot of chainsaw work. So at least if I knock them down, you know, they're not, I can still drive over them backwards. But another year or two, you're not giving them back over them. You're looking at a chainsaw. And you know, there's probably 10,000 of them in here. So, yep, that's what we got. It's just the way it is. Sometimes on the farm, things get away from you. And, you know, I guess autumn olives were developed to keep people humble, because they will kick you. They'll kick you right in the teeth. You may think you can control them. And you might, if you had your whole farm fenced and you had about 500 goats, and you could keep them in here without them pesting and your neighbors, keep the coyotes from killing them, this would be good goat feed, you know. But it's 240 acres. It costs you a fortune to fence it. I don't own it. I'm not going to come here and spend $100,000 fencing it, and it'll never pay for itself. Not on a lease that you don't own, and you know, you'd have to run 4,000 or 5,000 goats in here, you know, to pay for your fence. So we're doing the best we can. I'm gonna get them. You see what it looks like now. It's getting better. Each pass that I come through here is getting better. I can speed it up a little bit, but there's little ones like that. And then there's big ones that are almost as tall as my tractor. And those are the ones that I back over. These little guys, I can run over them. They're not going to rip off my hoses or anything on the tractor. But I intentionally left the, there's persimmon, black locust, hedge, honey locust, several different kinds of oaks in here. And there's some wild plum right there. I intentionally left all these just to make a better wildlife habitat. And this is a good place to hunt. I mean, The deer and the turkey feel pretty comfortable coming out on top of this ridge because they've got pretty good cover. And yeah, so that's why I left all these trees. And there's probably a few too many, but I can always take out a few, but if you cut them, you can't put them back. So most of the honey locusts I left here are thornless. They don't have hardly any thorns on them. So, you know, if I can get a honey locust that doesn't have thorns on them, I'm going to keep it. I even keep some that's got thorns on it because I don't have a choice. There's no other trees that are growing in the field, and I've got a honey locust that'll get up to 25, 30 feet tall in 5 to 7 years. Sign me up. Sign me up. See, that one didn't hardly have any thorns on it at all. So this is going to make a really nice shade tree. But we had a pretty good wind here. You can see the branches hanging there, the little tiny branches that broke. We lost some trees that were 60, 70 feet tall. Just busted them off. 70 to 80 miles per hour straight winds. That was last Thursday. I was in Georgia when it hit on a consulting trip, but really we didn't lose any buildings. Didn't damage any vehicles, so we were very, very, very fortunate. You know, nobody got hurt and didn't lose hardly anything, just some trees that we're still finding. We have to cut off the fences, but you know, that's not too bad. Folks, I'm going to get out of here. I want to concentrate on what I'm doing here, and everyone have a good one, and I hope to see some of y'all at the Powerflex Days. That's coming up here at Seymour, Missouri on July 12th and 13th. I'll be teaching a couple of grazing topics there, and also it's a chance for you to get to see Powerflex's new retail store and get 15% off of anything you want on your first initial purchase. Check it out. Seymour, Missouri, July 12th and 13th. Y'all have a good one.